Hello there, and here's a quick update on recent loft developments. We're doing the loft conversion. I've managed to get all the floor joists in, so they're 7x2 timbers, and they're completely independent of the original sort of roof rafters and the ceiling joists, which are the 4x2s down there. You can sort of see them running along underneath. So yeah, I've just been sort of cleaning out and then doing each stage step by step. So the next stage we're on is getting the roof there insulated, and the building regulations are quite strict on what sort of insulation levels have got to be achieved. So basically we're going to, well, I'll just measure in between the joists. So we've got rigid silver backed insulation going in between the rafters here. So they're 4x2 joists, these are here for the roof rafters, or a metric 100x50, and there's a 50mm rigid insulation going there, which leaves a 50mm air gap between the roof membrane just for ventilation. And then after that we've got, once that goes in, we've got to put a quilt insulation, which is a very high rated one, which goes over the top of the whole lot, and then on top of that there's the batten and then the plasterboard. So today's task is to have a good bash at getting all the insulation in. So my van's absolutely chock-a-block of insulation at the moment. I've got 30 sheets of 8x4 insulation in there, which is 2.4 meters by 1.2, just the standard insulation size sheets. So we're going to have a bash at that, and I've tried to rig up a system of, rather than doing it by hand with a handsaw, I've rigged up a machine, so I should get some nice sort of straight cuts, and hopefully they'll slot in between the joists there, because it's a pain when you have to trim a bit off, or they're too small or too big. So we're going to try to measure and cut them pretty accurately, so they sort of squeeze in between the joists. Rightio, wish me luck. So this is the setup I got for cutting the boards. I've just basically put two big sheets either side, and then I've got this gap here, so the blade's got somewhere to run along. And then I've just clipped this bit of plastic there to use as a straight edge, and then I'll run the saw along it then. So it's as simple as that, and I've connected a vacuum cleaner to the end of there just to minimise the mess. And it's quite horrible stuff when it sort of gets down your throat and everything, so we'll give that a zap. Right, I've done some fine tuning, and just a simple thing, like, because it's only a flimsy bit of plastic, just putting that screw there just to stop the plastic moving, so you can sort of see where it went completely offline, where I must have pushed the plastic across when I was first cutting it, and it goes across there. So yeah, and just putting the vacuum cleaner in the right place so it didn't catch on there, and I think we've more or less sussed it now, so we should be able to get a production line going, and we'll get those up into the loft then. Well, it's finally done, and I won't tell a lie, it's been really hard work. I've got all the insulation boards in between the rafters, and basically all these rafters, there's not a single one which is the same, even from top to bottom. They're all different, so apologies for the sun there, it's quite rare in Wales, so a bit dazzling, we're not used to it here. But yeah, it's been really hard work sort of getting all the insulation in, and probably one fault of my own is I probably try to cut them a bit too accurately. If it's 48.7 centimeters, that's what I cut them at, and perhaps I'm better off if I cut them at 47.5, you know, just a couple millimeters shorter, just to give myself a chance of getting them in there. But it's all done, so the next stage, like I said, is just we'll have that silk super quilt over it, battened, so there'll be this is like a big foil quilt thing, which is a very high rated UV whatever their the energy ratings are. I can't think of the name at the moment. And that goes on, and then that's just stapled to the rafters, and then it's battened over that, and then plasterboarded, and then finally plastered. And one thing I've decided to do, I don't know, I can't quite think how I've been running these. Obviously all the floorboards are done now. I think I might have mentioned that anyway. So you know, it's basically, you know, we're on a roll now. So those walls will be coming out, obviously. So this is going to be one really long room. So it's 10 meters by about 10 meters by about, let me think now. I think it's about nearly 7 or 8 meters, well, about 7 meters, something around about that. So it's a really good size room. Initially, my plan was, if you can see the purlin running along, here it is. That's obviously a very important structural part of the roof. That's running the full length of the room from that end all the way to that end. My initial plan was I'd come down from there, and then everything behind there would be storage. As you can see on the other side's the same. But I've changed my mind. I'm going to run the room all the way in towards the corners, you know, maybe just come slightly short. I might square it off just maybe a foot or so before it goes tight into the corners. And I just think it's such a shame to close off all that space. We've got a lovely sized room here. It can be a hobby room, spare bedrooms, whatever, you know. So, and then storage, you know, I'll just make up some little units to fit in there, you know. You know, it'll be such a shame to close up this space. So that's probably, that's definitely what I'm going to do, in fact. So bear with me on this. It's going to take quite a while, because it's you know, it's 3 floors of refurbishment basically. There's the 2 ground floors and then the loft here. So it's going to be a big job. So I don't know whether you'll have to forgive me. I've been a bit haphazard here. Whether I've updated you on other proceedings, but I've got the big steel in there. And that was hard work, just getting that in there, and that's that wall's going to come out, so that's something to look forward to. So there's a fair bit of work there, and this is a new loft hatch. And the only way I could get the timbers up there was through that window. I took the pane of glass out, and I opened up a new loft hatch, and that's how I got the timbers in. They're about 4.8 meters in length, so there were the timbers